I know. Lazy easy, that's the motto. So lazy easy. So we're gonna do shells and cheese. Before I start the shells and cheese, no, we'll do shells and cheese first. No. Yes, we'll do shells and cheese first. Okay, so here's the thing that I'm using, partly not homemade stuff. I'm using a jar of sauce, a jar. And I'm using a bag of meatballs. I know. And these are turkey meatballs. But, you know, I'm trying to expand the horizons so, you know, if you're not a beef eater, maybe that would be good. Good morning, Sherilyn. Hey, Sue. Meant today. Yeah, can't go wrong with shells and cheese. Well, we'll go from there. All right, so the first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna make my stuffing. Well, I already boiled my noodles. My noodles are over there. I already boiled the shells, and I'll get the other box out of the cabinet in just a second, and I'll show you what that looks like. All right, so this is 30 ounces, a pound and 14 ounces. This is a bum load of ricotta. But you know what? You can't go wrong with ricotta. Oh, except it looks kind of gross right there, doesn't it? Yeah. Okay, a whole thing of ricotta cheese. Because cheese is like chocolate and bacon. Can there be too much cheese? I don't think so. Have you ever made homemade cannolis? Has anybody made homemade cannolis? Because you use ricotta as well. Oh, so good. All right, I'm gonna start with this and one egg. One egg, you see the egg? Putting the egg in there. I'm gonna give that a toss, just so. La 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 la. Tossing my egg. Why am I putting an egg in there? Well, if you've made it before, you probably know the answer, or maybe you don't know the answer. You just always did it because that's what the recipe says. It acts as a binder, right? Eggs act as binders and it holds things together. Yum. You said, hi, Sue, and Siri just told me there's no one on your contacts list. Make some cannoli. Okay, so that's gonna bind it up, but now we're gonna need to flavor it up because ricotta's fine, but it doesn't really have a taste, if you will. It's kind of a good background cheese. And so, again, gonna be a little lazy. I'm gonna use just some Italian herbs, the blend. I'm gonna put in about, I don't know, half a teaspoon. Half a teaspoon, does that look like half a teaspoon? Okay. And I'm gonna add a little garlic, granulated garlic. Let's say half a teaspoon of that too. Don't you love my exact measurements? Okay, and that's really, actually it needs a little salt. Hold on. Salt, where are you? Salt, come hither. A little salt, because everything needs a little salt. All right, just a pinch. A pinch will do ya. Okay, so I have to ask, make some cannoli. I know. Okay, good morning, Linda. Hey, Susan. So I'm gonna tell you a funny story about whether you do it because you know the reason that you do it, or you do it because that's the way it's always been done. So I have a friend, and so she the whole time her mother, she was growing up, right? Her mother would make pork roast, and when she would make the pork roast, she would buy the pork roast, and then she would cut off like that much of the end of it. She would cut it off, and then she would put it in the baking dish, in the roaster or whatever, and then she would cook it. And so for years, every time, after she got older and got married and had kids and all that, she'd make a pork roast. She'd cut off the end. So one time, her mom's at the house, and she's looking at her. Oh, this needs some more Italian herbs. You want to see stuff in there. So maybe we do a teaspoon instead of a half. So her mom's there, and she said, "Why did you cut off the end of that roast?" And she said, "Well, Mom, that's the way you've always done it. You buy the roast, you cut off the end, and then you put it in." And her mom starts laughing. She's like, "What?" She goes, "Okay, the reason I had to cut off the end of the roast is because the pan I had was only this big. And every roast I bought was too big, so I had to cut off the end so it would fit in the pan." Had nothing to do with the recipe, had nothing to do with taste, had everything to do with the size of the pan that she had. I thought that was hilarious. For years she did that. I know, I don't measure very well. I couldn't find granulated garlic at Kroger. You know what? If you don't get granulated garlic, you can use garlic powder. I think I got this at Sam's or Costco. I don't know which one that is, but anyway, you can use powdered garlic powder. That's fine too. My only thing is if you use garlic salt, then you can't add salt, right? So you just need to be careful which one you pick up. That's why I'm always particular to say granulated garlic or garlic powder, because if you use onion salt or garlic salt, then you don't want to add more salt. Okay, this is it. That's our stuffing. Now, to stuff our shells, I'm using the handy dandy zip top bag. Okay, when you stuff, do you get it all over the stuff? Yes. So what you have to do is roll it over like you're doing socks. You know, the socks come out and you're rolling the socks over. Maybe you don't do it that way, I don't know. Open it up and then you can shovel it in. And so even if it gets right here on you, on the bag, it doesn't really matter because it's in the middle of it. It's not at the top. And so you don't get it all gross. Okay, the reason I don't make these very often, so Philip called this morning and he says, don't you love this? Not good morning, I love you, how are you? What's for dinner? So what's for dinner? And I said, we're having shells and cheese. He goes, oh, well, you never make those. Yes, and I never make them because what is my rule about getting my hands gross? Ugh. I don't like getting my hands gross. So, and that's why. So, okay. So now it looks like mashed potatoes. But it's not mashed potatoes. So squish it down to the end of the bag. I'm gonna do a little roll and seal it up. So we're just getting the air out of it. Okay? Now, let me go get the shells. Because we need the shells. Because we can't do anything without shells. We can't make shells and cheese with no shells. Oh, that would be lovely. Try Amazon. Our stores have been out of seasonings. Yeah, I know. Hey, Henrietta. Yeah, good morning, Julie. Hey, thank you. Okay. Shells. Big old shells. Hold on. There we go. Oh, that's got like 2 in 1. Come apart. Come apart. This is why I don't like that. See? It's stuck together. I can make it work, but it's gonna drive me bazonkers. Okay, that's what it looks like. Shell, big old shell. Okay, this is why I don't like it, because I have to touch stuff. I know I could put on gloves, but I'm not gonna do that. Okay, I'm gonna just tip the end. Now, be careful. If you get too much, then it's just squirting out everywhere. So I'm just gonna tip the end, although I may have tipped too much. And then, we're gonna do something fancier with the sauce, but I did take like a teaspoon, tablespoon, and I just did it on the bottom of my baking dish. This is the baking dish I'm using. This is a big baking dish. It's like 15 by 10, so it's big. You can use a 9 by 13, whatever. Anyway, I just wanted a big one. So I just put a little bit on the bottom because every shell should be able to swim a little bit. It should swim a little bit in the sauce. Okay, make sure you keep the end where you know where it is. And then we're gonna do one shell. So you hold the shell in your hand and then you squeeze your bag. Squeeze your bag, just sounds bad, doesn't it? Squeeze your bag into the shell. La 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 la, there we go. Filled shell. Set her down in the pool and grab the next one. Now, I went ahead and pre-cooked my shells, and then I just poured a little olive oil on them. Well, I poured a little olive oil on them so they wouldn't stick really bad. And yet, I mean, it normally works. I don't know why it didn't work. Okay. And I thought, oh, well, you know what? I'll do this ahead of time, and then I can do 1 or 2 shells so it won't take so long, and then I'll go, ta-da! But to do that, I would have had to make everything twice. Okay, I'm having a hard time. I'd have had to make everything twice, and I don't need that many shells, right? Did you make the Italian beef yet? So we did the Italian beef sandwiches, and I took them over to the boys, and so, you know, I told you how we eat them, right? You put the stuff in there. I put a little juice on. Then I put some mozzarella or some sort of shredded cheese or provolone, stick in the microwave just a second, just long enough to melt that cheese on there. And then I eat it. And to me, it's a great sandwich. I think it's lovely that way. So I asked Philip this morning, I said, oh, how was the sandwich? Did you enjoy the sandwiches? And he said, oh yeah, I had it in a bowl. And could we go swimming yet? Yesterday in Illinois, it was raining and only 47. Let's see. I was at the Dollar Tree and they have plenty of seasonings. What? I guess it would be. What do I do with my leftovers? Nancy, I don't really have any leftovers. Well, okay, if we eat at night and it's not all eaten, then that's what I have for lunch the next day. So, and usually that's about it. I know it looks like I'm making a lot, but quite frankly, I'm sending more than half, well, it depends what it is, more than half over to the doctors. And then that gives them something to eat as well. I'm making such a big mess. Hold on. Yeah. Okay, we're gonna do this. We're gonna shove these aside, because otherwise I'll be filling shells till the day I die. This is why I don't make these. It's just messy. But here's the problem. It's like chicken and dumplings. Remember when I said I would never make chicken and dumplings on this show, and then I made the chicken and dumplings on this show? The reason is because it's messy and it takes a long time. Right? Same thing. But they're so good. I mean, so good. Okay, now we're gonna do our sauce. Well, that's doing. Okay, another bowl. You've stuffed all of your shells. Now, jar or can, it doesn't matter. You can make homemade sauce. Here's my other story. About pasta or sauce or spaghetti. So my stepdad was Italian. And so I grew up eating sauce that he made, right? Because one, I don't know that there was such a thing as canned or jarred sauce back then. I don't know. But he always made it. And so there you go. And so when you make, and if you're Italian, it's probably, is it sauce or is it gravy? You never say never, I know. Can you leave them in the pan and then fill them? You sure can. I probably should have used a smaller bag. Then it wouldn't have been so overwhelming. I know. Thank you, Sue. I know you're thankful I made the chicken and dumplings. I know Angela does. Anyway, so my dad always made it, and it cooked all day, and there was all kinds of stuff in there, onions and celery, and we even had mushrooms and black olives. I mean, it was stuff, and because it cooked all day long, by the time it was served, it wasn't red. It was orange. It was like kind of an orangish brown color because it had cooked so long, and it was awesome. So we're gonna put in a half teaspoon of garlic powder, granulated, something like that. I get to college. I'm a freshman. I'm standing in the cafeteria, going through the line, and I hit, where the ladies are doing this, right? And I said, and I'm looking, and I said, "What is that?" And she said, "It's spaghetti." Like I'm a moron, right? And I said, "Well, I get what the pasta is. What's the sauce?" And again, looks like, are you from a foreign country? She said, "It's spaghetti sauce." And I went, "But it's red. Spaghetti sauce isn't red." So it was the first time I'd ever seen red spaghetti sauce. I know, kind of silly. Hey, Kathy, good morning. It's not Rebecca's not watching, Kat's watching. Kat, you should watch this. We were doing stuffed shells. So we made a ricotta with an egg and some Italian seasonings, and we boiled our big shells and we shoved them full of ricotta cheese, and now we're doing our sauce. So, jar or can, we've added a half a teaspoon of garlic. Now, why am I doing this? Because this says it's got green pepper and mushrooms in it. Of course, I see no evidence of any of that. Cans and jar sauces just don't have enough they just don't have enough flavor. They're okay, but they're just the acidity and the, I don't know, kind of bland. So I always like to just jazz it up a little bit. We are gonna use our Italian herbs again because it's got oregano and all that other stuff. So we're gonna, about a half a teaspoon of those. Now, here's I gotta share with you. My friend has a garden, and look what I got today. Fresh basil. Look how big those basil leaves are. Look how big. Ooh, if you could smell, I know, how funny, red sauce. Ha ha ha. I saw collard greens for the first time. I had no idea what they are. That's funny. Okay, so I'm gonna teach you something new. I'm gonna put this aside just a second. I'm gonna teach you something new. Maybe not new. Maybe you already know this. I'm gonna teach you how to chiffonade. Chiffonade, have you ever heard that? Okay, I'm gonna turn that down just a little bit because I want you to be able to see, whoops. There you are, okay. I thought I made you go away. Oh, I was scary. It was scary. I thought I made you go away. Okay, so even if your basil leaves aren't this big, you take your basil leaves and you put them one on top of another till you have a little stack, okay? Now, I'm gonna pinch off the little stems on the end, okay? So stems are pinched off. Now, you're gonna roll them. You know, like you were gonna, I wouldn't say like you're gonna roll a cigarette, but I don't know. You're gonna roll it, okay, so can you see down here? Okay, so I'm just gonna roll them into a tube. I'm rolling into a tube. Okay, now I have a tube of basil leaves. See that? No, tube of basil leaves. Now, this is called chiffonade. Ooh, you're learning. You're gonna take your knife, and we're gonna go down all the way, okay? And so you're gonna cut it. So we're gonna go just like this, all the way down. You can go slower if you so desire. Okay, and when you get done, you have these beautiful little ribbons. Ribbons of basil. Isn't that pretty? Now, if you wanted to dice it up, you certainly can, but I just think that's pretty. And fresh herbs, oh, it smells so good in here. And so, because I have that, I'm adding. You don't have to add this because there's basil in that Italian herb blend that we did, but you know, if you got it, use it. Flaunt it. There we go. I'm also gonna put in some minced onion. If you don't have minced onion, you can use powdered onion, onion powder. Okay, and why do I do all this? Because if I was making sauce from scratch, I would saute onions, and I'd saute garlic. And so do you see how I'm just taking this, and then I'm kind of amping it up a little bit. Okay, so that being said, I'm gonna give this a stir, and you go, okay, well, it's still just a red sauce, except we're not gonna have a red sauce. We're gonna make a rosa sauce. Now, a rosa sauce just starts like this, and I'm just gonna add 1/3 cup of milk. If you had half and half or heavy cream, that would be better, but I did not. So I'm just gonna add 1/3 cup of milk, and you're like, milk in spaghetti sauce? I think all of the Italians out there who call it gravy are cringing. They're cringing, I tell you. Let me tell you the reason I'm doing this. So my daughter had a rosa sauce when we were, I don't know where we were. We were on vacation sometime. And she thought it was so great. And quite frankly, it's really just sauce with some cream in there. It makes it kind of an orange, you know, a softer pink or a little bit of an orange. Okay, I'm gonna show you the color. But the best thing I like about it is, so tomato sauce or spaghetti sauce is very acidic because tomatoes are very acidic. So when you add the milk or the cream or the half and half in there, it cuts the acidity just a little bit. And I found, you make stuffed shells all the time. Well, there you go, new stuff. I'm glad you learned something new. I know. Anyway, so when you add that milk, then it just kind of, it softens the acidity and it just gives it another layer of flavor, okay? Now, my oldest daughter does not like Parmesan. And when I told her what I was making, she specifically told me not to put Parmesan on top of the shells. So, this is shaved Parmesan. She's upstairs. I'm just gonna take a little bit and kind of crumble it up through my hands, and I'm gonna put it in the sauce because the sauce needs it. Even she just doesn't think it does. It does. Okay, so a little Parmesan in the sauce. Okay, there we go. Now, through the magic of TV, all the shells are stuffed. Look at that. Now, this would be fine, especially if you're you just want shells and cheese, that's fine, or stuffed shells. If you are a vegetarian, there you go. But you know, I got some meat eaters around here, and even though I'm not doing the beef meatballs, I am doing the turkey meatballs. And again, being lazy, so I'm just using the frozen ones. So you can go and stick these in between your little shells. And so now, instead of, you know, your family going, where's the rest of dinner, right? Shouldn't there, if especially in Texas, of course you would use beef meatballs, you probably would not use turkey meatballs, but, you know, in Texas, where's the beef? Where's the meat? You know, it's not a complete meal unless you got some meat in there. So, so now, you didn't really have to do anything. And you can make homemade ones, but again, lazy Cindy, lazy. Okay, so now, you wanna see what it looks like? There you go. Now that looks like a full meal, doesn't it? So we have pasta and cheese and meat. And now we're just gonna layer our sauce on the top. Would you give me that box of the shells? I have to show you the picture on the box of the shells. Down a second shelf in the back, to the left, second shelf, to the left, your other left. There you go. Oh, sorry. Okay, so I bought jumbo shells. I want you to look at the picture on there. You see that? There is no sauce on those shells. I mean, it's like they dribbled a tiny little bit of sauce for pictures. Boring. Hey, Ashley, how are you doing? Hey, Sharon. Larissa, all the meatballs frozen or thawed? They're thawed. I thawed them out. But quite frankly, they'll cook in plenty of time because I'm gonna cook this for 30 minutes in the oven. And so that would be plenty of time. But you know, as you're putting your dish together, take your meatballs out and they can be thawing or coming to room temperature. If they don't, if they're still frozen, pop them in the microwave on the defrost. Okay, so now I'm gonna put the sauce on top of my shells and my meatballs. And I'm not doing that thing where they did, where there's a tiny little taste of sauce on each one, because I think there should be sauce. If you're gonna have sauce, it's kind of like the ricotta I bought. Did I want the full ricotta, or did I want ricotta light, or ricotta half, and I'm looking and I'm going, no. If I'm getting some cheese, I want the whole shebang. I want cheese. So I got the full milk. Okay. All right, so I'm just gonna take the back. I just used a ladle. I'm gonna use the back of my ladle, or you could use your spoon, and I'm gonna spread that out so that everybody gets to come to the party. Everybody's at the party. Everybody's got some sauce. Okay, now, we could be done right then. Look at that. Ta-da! But then you need more cheese on top. So we are gonna put some shredded mozzarella on the top. And I'm sure, like I said, if you make this before, you probably have your own recipes. Pardon me. You probably have a way of doing it. I just wanted to give you some different ideas, some shortcuts maybe. Maybe you make your sauce from scratch. Maybe you make your meatballs from scratch. And you can do all that, but it's kind of nice to have something in the back of your mind of, you know what, I don't have time today to do everything from scratch. Now, I know we don't have stuff we're doing right now, but you know, eventually. Oh, I don't want to eat my hair. Okay, there we go. All right, so now I'm gonna cover this with foil. There we go, see, lovely. I'm gonna cover it with foil, 350 degrees for 30 minutes. Our shells are done, our meatballs are done, our ricotta, it's just gonna get all merry and yummy and wonderful. And remember, why put the foil on and why not off? When we cover something with a lid or with foil, we're keeping all that moisture in, and we wanna keep that moisture in. If we cook it without a lid or without foil, we're letting all the moisture come out. And so things tend to dry out a little bit, which I don't want. You can, if you like it a little toasty brown on the top, I don't, but if you do, then like the last 5 minutes you're gonna cook it, take the foil or the lid off, and then the top will get brownish, right? You don't want it like dark brown, but brownish. I just like melty cheese. The other thing I'll tell you is when you put your foil on, try not to make it so tight that it's touching the top of the foil, because you do not want to take your foil off and lose your cheese. Don't lose your cheese. Okay, so there's our shells and cheese for today. Now, is that all we're doing? Well, you'd think. And I've already made this recipe, but I needed a bread for tonight. And why? I don't know, because when I eat pasta, I think you need bread. Do you need bread? To the left, to the left. I know we should sing that song, right? All right, so I've got, you're so lazy shortcuts. I know. Don't you like that? This is my friend Cindy. She's lazy. Isn't that great? Okay, this is a can of crescent dough. We made these already. Do you remember? It was the yummy ring of flakiness. And it was awesome because I topped it with everything bagel. And I thought it was lovely. Oops. Oh. Okay. Now, when we did it the last time, what I told you to do is to leave them, that came undone. Anyway, to leave them whole like this and lay them in the bundt pan. Today, I'm going to, just because I liked what it did, but I wanted different flavors. So I'm gonna unroll mine, but I'm not gonna keep them apart. I'm not gonna tear them apart. So I'm just gonna unroll it just a little bit. Whew, okay, come together. Don't separate, stay together, be a family. Okay, now, the inside. You'd say, oh, butter would be good in there. Yes, butter would be good in there. But if you put butter in here, then it's kind of greasy and then things don't cook all the way. So I don't want to do that. And I could, since I've opened it up, I could put everything bagel in here. But again, trying to do a little something different. So here's the first thing I'm doing. I am going to use my granulated garlic or garlic powder, and I'm going to put the garlic in there. Because, you know, it's an Italian meal, we need garlic. Then I'm going to put, you can use onion powder. I'm going to use the minced onions because it's going to be, oh, what's that? It's just going to give it a little bit more flavor. And then, because you know we need butter. You know we need butter, but I don't want this to be a greasy mess. Butter buds sprinkles. Now, I got turned on to this when we were, and I'm just going to sprinkle that on there. We were on some diet where there was no dairy and nothing good. Like, we ate nothing that was good. But I needed something that tasted like butter. And so it smells like butter and it looks like butter. Now, that being said, I'm gonna roll it right back up to the way it was. All right, that's all I'm doing. I put granulated garlic or garlic powder. I put onions. Okay, I gotta do the other one. Hold on. I put minced onion and I put some butter buds. Butter buds. I don't know if that's a hard thing to find right now or not. Okay, these fell apart. I am not pleased with this roll. Bad roll. Bad roll. Okay, there we go. You could flour your surface so that it doesn't stick. But, I mean, quite frankly, if you take them out of the refrigerator and then get on it, sister, then they're not going to get that sticky. Okay? Come on, get back together. Be a family. Don't be separate. Okay, garlic. Garlic. Onion. You don't have to put the onion if you don't like onion. Just do the garlic and the butter buds. No melted garlic. You could brush it, I suppose, but again, my whole fear is that it's too greasy and then they don't cook in the middle. And that doesn't make me happy. Okay, so I've rolled it back up. Now, here's my bundt pan. If you remember from the last time we did this, let me set it in here. I'm gonna smush it together and then I'll show you. I laid both rings in here, right? Both of the rings were in here. And then I'm just gonna use my fingers and smush the ends together. You gotta kind of smush it to the center of your bundt pan. Do I have to use a bundt pan, Cindy? No, you could just make it, put it on a, do this shape and put it on a baking sheet. You could do that. Okay, see, there you go. So I did, well, not me, but you spray your bundt pan and then see how it's just in a ring? and smush it to the center so that you can join your edges together. And then you're gonna bake that just according to these instructions, which were bake 9 to 12 minutes. It doesn't say how much. Oh, 375. 350 for dark, or this is dark. So 350 for 9 to 12 minutes. And then poof, there you go. I have made flaky goodness twice now, and I bought some seasoning and everything. Well, you can still make them that way, and quite frankly, you could unroll them and put that in there. Is there a difference between granulated garlic and garlic powder? Why, yes, there is. Just like there's a difference between granulated white sugar and powdered sugar. And the difference is one is ground up more finely. So if you don't have, here's something, we're not even using powdered sugar today, and you're gonna learn something, Larissa. If you need powdered sugar for a recipe and you don't have any powdered sugar, you take regular white granulated sugar and you put it either in, like if you have a coffee grinder or maybe a food processor, blender. It just, you know, it's gotta have something where the blades can get to it. I usually use the coffee grinder. And you put the sugar in there and you until, and then poof, you have powdered sugar. Did you know that? Did you know that? Powdered sugar is just granulated sugar, finely ground. And the same thing with granulated garlic and garlic powder. So granulated garlic has a little bit larger granule, if you will, and the garlic powder has been smooshed a lot more. It's been ground up. So there you go. That's all we have for today. Isn't that exciting? We made yummy shells and cheese with meatballs. That's a spicy meatball. And we used fresh basil in there. That was fun. You learned how to chiffonade. Say it with me, folks. Chiffonade. I know, fun, right? I know, you're learning tons today. Yesterday we made sauerkraut, and today we've learned how to make powdered sugar. And it's not even in the recipe. And then we put together another flaky ring of goodness to go with it. Obviously, serve a bag salad with this or chop up some lettuce and stuff. And then you've got an entire meal to go with all this. And I think your family's really gonna like it. If you're gonna do Italian sausage, you could put that in there. I might cut it up. You know, Italian sausage you need to cook first. You don't just put raw Italian sausage in here. That would be bad. That would be raw. So you have to cook Italian sausage first, which is why I like the bagged meatballs, because then there's lazy, easy, quick, and yummy. And that gets everything we need. What about garlic flakes or onion flakes? I don't know that I've ever seen onion or garlic flakes. I don't think I've seen that word flakes. Like this is minced garlic. It looks kind of like a flake. Are you flaky? You're flaky. Yeah, so I guess that's something. Sounds like a dance. I know. You're welcome, Sue. I hope you guys enjoyed this, and I hope you have a lovely day. From Cindy's kitchen to your kitchen, you can sing When the Moon Hits the Sky, or however the words go, that's amore. And you can have a lovely Italian dinner tonight and get stuffed. Tonight you can get stuffed. I'll see you guys tomorrow at 11. Have a great day.